could be known as the year of the throwback. We got the throwback jerseys. We drafted throwback type players. And if this defense is anything like the Eagles' defenses of old, the rest of the league is in a lot of trouble. Dallas still stinks. Yo, by the way, Kid Dingbat here, and I hope everybody's having a great day. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope you're hanging in there. You know, I haven't been this excited since probably Saturday night with the wife. But I haven't been this excited since then, and I am pumped up right now because everything we're hearing from Sean Desai tells me that this defense is going to be a throwback of old. It is going to be what we used to see in Philly defenses. Now, we're going to get into it in a second, but before we do that, if you're new to the channel and you like the content, make sure you hit that like button. More importantly, make sure you subscribe to the most censored, the most throttled Eagles content creator in all of the internet. If you've been subscribed for a while, I just want to thank you so much for all the support you give to me. It truly means a lot. Also, just a reminder, I will be streaming tomorrow's kickoff, NFL kickoff tomorrow night. Thursday Night Football is back. We will be streaming. Come hang out. It should be a lot of fun. We also, of course, streaming the Eagles game on Sunday, as well as the Sunday night game, Cowboys versus Giants, where we hope two teams just beat the crap out of each other. That's what we want to see. A lot of beating the crap out of each other. But look for all those things this week. It's a busy week. It is the start of the NFL season, and there's a lot of things that I'm very excited about when it comes to this Eagles team, when it comes to this year. First and foremost, I got to say it. I mean, I love the fact that we brought back Kelly Green. It's been a long time coming. I have been waiting for this moment. The day they announced the current logo was the day that I started wanting Kelly Green to come back right away. And we're finally getting it back as an alternate jersey. We're only getting it twice. I wish we were getting it 3 times, but that's okay. I'll take it. It looks absolutely gorgeous, absolutely beautiful. And I know a lot of people are excited. Do you realize that the throwback jerseys are the most sold NFL alternate jerseys in the history of the NFL? In history. I mean, we shattered records. You know, I was watching the preseason games where the Eagles were at home playing, and 80% of the crowd was wearing Kelly Green. And it wasn't just jerseys. It could be hats. It could be T-shirts. Kelly Green is here to stay. It just is. You'll never be able to get rid of it, but it's back, and I love it. Then when you look at the draft, you know, talking about throwback players, I think Jalen Carter is a throwback player, and I cannot wait to see this kid unleashed on the field versus the New England Patriots. I tell you, and I mean this honestly, I think he has the ceiling to be as close to Jerome Brown as we have had since Jerome Brown. I think it's that close. Like, I think this kid has that much talent. Now, he's going to have to go out, of course, and do it, and go out there and play and perform. But, yeah, he has that Jerome Brown type feel to him. So we're going to see how he develops. But I see him as almost like a throwback. And then you look at Sean Desai, and this is what I'm really excited about. He had a quote today at his press conference, because he was speaking at his press conference. He said this: "We're not in the business of giving up free yards." That was his quote. We're not in the business of giving up free yards. I am going to tell you, I totally believe this. I believe Jonathan Gannon does not believe that same philosophy. Some of you may be saying, oh, no, come on, he had all those sacks. He had a lot of sacks. I don't believe he believed that. I think what happened between the 20 and the 20, he didn't care. As long as his team tightened up, bend, and didn't break. I hate bend and don't break. I think it's the worst style of defense to play. I really do. I absolutely hate it, especially when you look at the NFL today, and you look how it's geared towards the offenses. All the rules favor the offense. Everything favors the offense, the way they protect the quarterbacks, all those kind of things. Really, the only way to actually cut the snake off, at the head is to cut the snake off at the head. Does that make any sense? Does that make any sense? Yes, to cut the snake off at the head, you got to cut the snake off at the head. I cut the snake off. I cut a snake's head off once. I'm not kidding you. No lie. I was in Florida. and I was walking, and I was walking to a house, and there's this little rattler snake there, and it was so small it was rattling, but it was getting ready to strike people as they were walking by. I had to get a shovel, and I hit that thing right in the head, and it was all knocked out like this. And I swear his tongue was out like this. And it was just out, dead. And I had to cut its head off and bury it. You had to bury the head because it was trying to strike somebody walking the house. And them little snakes, them little rattlesnakes, from what they say, they're actually more poisonous because I guess their venom's less diluted. So the snake was going to take me out, or I was going to take the snake out. And I hate snakes. I hate them. I hate snakes. That was one of the only reasons I liked Indiana Jones. One of the only reasons. Because he hates snakes. So do I. As soon as I heard he hates snakes at the beginning of Raiders of the Lost Ark, I loved the movie. I loved the guy. I haven't watched the last one, though, because I heard it stinks. I have no interest in watching, what's his face? Harrison Ford with his little walker running around. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, my teeth falling out. Hell with that crap. I ain't watching it. Anyways, I'm getting distracted. I'm distracted. Anyways, what I think about offenses is basically the way the NFL works with offenses. The only true way to stop and negate a offense and all the rules and everything that goes against the defense today is to be able to get to the quarterback. You have to be able to get to the quarterback. It's the one way to negate all the disadvantages the defense have. That's why the Eagles put so much work into their defensive line. That's why the Eagles always have a rotation that they could just keep turning out players, turning out guys, because it's the pass rush. You have to be able to get to the quarterback. That's why the Jalen Carter pick was such a great pick. And when you look at Sean Desai and you look at his approach, I mean, he has talked about this before. He wants his defense to kind of take on the personality of the city. And when you think about, I mean, that is exactly what I want to hear from my defensive coordinator. I want a defensive coordinator that is going to go out there and want to take on the personality of the Philadelphia Eagles and the city. Because when you think about it and you really think about those defenses, and I'll just talk about, the Eagles football that I've seen, and I've been around, I was born in 1975. So, I remember early 80s football, I remember right when Dick Vermeil left is when I really started to remember the Eagles and fell in love with the Eagles. So I remember Marion Campbell was the coach. He stunk. But you had Mike Quick. You had Ron Jaworski was still there. So you had some guys that were fun to watch. And then Buddy came in. And when Buddy Ryan came in with that defense, man, with Reggie, Jerome, Clyde, Seth, I mean, they were nasty. They were going to hurt you. And their philosophy was to go out and punish you. And that Veterans Stadium was nasty. For you guys that don't know, that was a nasty place. And it was the worst, especially if you had to go to the bathroom. Don't go to the bathroom at the vet. I didn't even try. I wouldn't even drink stuff so I wouldn't have to go to the bathroom because the lines were horrendous. It was absolutely horrible. It was pigsty. They had rats and cats and all over the place there. But you loved it in a way because it was nasty. It was beat up a stadium, and the Eagles defense were going to beat you up, and it was a street fight. And there was a certain personality that defense took on. And I think, even when they moved to the link with Jim Johnson, I think they had that. They had it under Bud Carson too. And then, I would say like once Jim Johnson left, they really kind of didn't have that same type of defense. And now when you look at the Eagles defense now, even what they had last year in terms of talent, you looked at the talent they had last year, and yeah, you could say they had 70 sacks. They had a great season, killed the league in sacks and all the stuff, and their defense did all these numbers. But I honestly can look and I can tell you, yeah, those are great numbers. Those are great statistics, but they could have been better. I don't believe that Jonathan Gannon got every ounce out of that defense that he could have. I think there was a lot more he could have squeezed. There's a lot more squeezed left in the orange. You know what I'm saying? He could have gotten a lot more out of it. And He didn't. He didn't. And I don't think he was a good fit in terms of personality. And I know some Eagle fans love Jonathan Gannon. I don't see it. I don't get it. Yes, he had good stats, but I think it's like much like the Dallas Cowboys situation when they won a Super Bowl with Barry Switzer. Barry Switzer was a moron. He's an idiot. But he had such a talented team around him, and many Dallas Cowboy fans will even say that he was able to win, okay? That's the truth. I think Jonathan Gannon had that good of a defense and that much talent around him that he was able to go out and put up good numbers anyways. And I think now with Sean Desai and just the philosophy that he seems like he's going to have. Now, we got to see him on the field. We got to see what he does. But just from everything I've seen this preseason, in training camp, everything we've heard about him, I feel like he's going to be a lot more aggressive. I think he's already blitzed more in preseason than the Eagles blitzed all of last year. Okay, all of last year. And I'm a big believer in the blitz. I believe in the blitz. I believe that the way the game is going, it's even more important now to be able to get to the quarterback. I'm not saying that you have to blitz 50% of the time. I'm not even saying you have to blitz 30% of the time. But you gotta be able to blitz at least 20% of the time. You got to be able to blitz in certain situations. When a quarterback comes out in the first half and he's 10 of 11 or 15 of 16, and he's got 88% completion percentage, you've got to be able to do something to try to knock him off his game and get him out of his rhythm. Jonathan Gannon had no interest in that whatsoever. Sean Desai seems like he has a lot more interest in giving this team a personality, using the talent and the players around him to their advantage. That's the other thing I really like about what he said. He said he wants to take guys and what they do well, and he wants to use that on the field. I thought too many times Hassan Reddick was in coverage, and he shouldn't have been. He could have had another 5-6 sacks easy, especially early in the year. Gannon did that. I think at times you have these corners in zone coverage, and I don't think that you need them to play zone. I think they should be playing man. If you look at Darius Slay, you look at the best game Darius Slay had last year. It was against who? The Minnesota Vikings and Justin Jefferson. He shut him down. Why did he shut him down? Because he got up for that game. He knew he was going to follow Justin Jefferson all around the field, and he did. When you get corners, especially a guy like Darius Slay, one of the things that gets them real up and amped for a game is going up against the best receiver. That's what they feed off of. It's the same thing with the receiver. You feed a receiver early, you get him in the game. They feed off those kind of things. Gannon didn't seem to care about that at all, and I thought that hurt him. I thought he didn't use his personnel to his advantage, and he really didn't have a defense, in my opinion, that had the personality of the city. It should have been, because really it's naturally, I think, has that personality. He didn't do enough to bring it out. Sean Desai looks like he's going to do those things. That's why I'm very excited about him. That's why when I hear people like Cowboy fans talk about, well, you lost your defensive coordinator, I think to myself, but that's a positive. You act like that's a negative. That's a positive. That's a good thing. So one of the things I'm most excited about, most excited to see, is Sean Desai. And today's press conference, in my opinion, proved exactly that. Just my opinion. Let me know yours in the comment section. With that said, take care. Talk to you later. Of course, don't be a dingbat. And remember, it's how we vision. We're all just living in it. So I thought this year's Hard Knocks was maybe one of the better Hard Knocks that we have seen in years. I thought it was really, really good. And one of my favorite parts of the whole thing was when Aaron Rodgers was talking about the UFO he saw. That was some good stuff. I want more on that. I want to know more on that. I have a lot of questions. He saw this big thing coming across the sky, and then fighter jets were sitting there chasing it later. That's awesome. How big was this thing? Like, would it have been this? Because when people say, oh, I saw this big thing in the sky, yeah, but like compared to what? Like in the sky, is it as big as a house would be? Is it as big as a bus? Like how big is it in the sky? Because sometimes, to me, it's hard to tell. Some things look small far away, but as it gets close up, it's probably big. Look how small planes look in the sky, and then you go and you stand to get on one, and they're huge. How big are some of these ships? That's what I want to know. I saw a big-ass one in Vegas. We're driving out to Vegas in the desert in the middle of the night. I saw this thing. I was driving from Tehachapi. I was coming down these mountains of Tehachapi, right? And I was on this road going from west to east, headed to Vegas. And I'm driving in the middle of the night, me and my wife. I had a little baby. My oldest was a little kid at the time, little baby. And we're driving, and I see this green comet, like this green, it was a big green comet-looking thing, and it was coming across the sky real fast. I was like, look, a comet, or whatever. And me and my wife were looking up, and the thing's coming, and all of a sudden, it slows down to a stop, to like almost a stop. Turns, and then goes east, and then literally, like, you go 1, 2, you couldn't see it. It shot across, it shot east so fast. I mean, it was unbelievable how fast that thing moved out. And it just came to almost like a complete stop over us, turned, and then just shot east, like in 2 seconds. Crazy. And I was like, you saw that, right? I'm not going crazy. Yeah, you saw. It was crazy. And then, the only thing I was worried about was like, did we have any lapse time? Did the thing take us into their ship for a few hours? Is that our daughter? It ain't some like little alien species back there? Like, because it was wild. It was wild. But that was my favorite part of Hard Knocks. Denzel Washington out.